Today I want to talk about one small situation that happened to me today, and it stayed with me probably longer than it should have. And it made me think about empathy and about people pleasing. Hello everyone, and welcome back to my channel. Today I want to talk about one little interesting situation that happened to me in the morning, and probably situation itself it's not that interesting, but the insight and the way I started thinking about that's probably the interesting part. Sorry for my voice today. February this year is really cold here, and I think I'm getting cold. I have a sore throat, and my voice is kind of strange, so sorry for that. But I really felt that I want to share this story and my insight, because I think some other people may also deal with similar stuff. So first of all, what actually happened, the situation. Today in the morning I was walking. I was having my walking routine, and a couple of times per week I do it kind of for a long time, for 2 hours, sometimes maybe more. And for me it's kind of like mental walk, like me time. So it's not just about walking and getting those steps, but it's also about kind of mental stuff. Now my mental walk. And I was walking, and because I'm always using the same route, kind of I'm in this autopilot mode. So just I'm thinking about something, I'm somewhere in my head, and my body just moves because kind of I already know that place very well, and I can walk like without paying attention to the environment. So while I was walking, I saw that just 2 men were crossing the street in front of me. They were carrying some foldable chairs and plastic table and some other stuff. So obviously they were heading to the beach in order to have a picnic. So I just briefly look at them and continue my walk. And while looking under my feet, I saw that a plastic cup just kind of hit my leg, and practically my leg stopped that plastic cap, because it was really windy today and cold, and kind of that wind just was blowing that plastic cap. So kind of my legs stopped, and thinking that it's just some kind of piece of garbage or something, I was kind of just stepping over it. And while I was stepping over it, I saw that one of those 2 men is just like running towards me, looking at this kind of plastic cap. So I kind of understood that probably he's trying to catch it. Most probably it just like he dropped it or something, or wind carried it away, doesn't matter. So eventually he was running after that cup. When I understood that he was kind of trying to catch that plastic cup, I was already kind of stepping over it. So I was just stepped over, and I kind of continue my walk like automatically, because I was still in this autopilot walking mode. And once I did it, like at that time this man came towards me, and I kind of stopped, and he just looked at me, not maybe angrily, but kind of sad, disappointed, maybe even a little bit angrily. And he told me something like, oh, if you were a bit kinder person, you would pick it up and you not just like stepped over it or something. And I kind of froze, because I couldn't kind of give the answer, explain myself that it was accident, that I couldn't understand, etc. Because currently I'm living in Turkey, and my Turkish is very bad actually. I'm learning the language, but like it's not so good, and I can speak. I do know some kind of survival phrases. I can kind of live in this country, right? But when something unexpected happened, it's kind of hard for me to immediately find the right words to explain myself. And that situation was that particular situation when I couldn't explain myself. I just froze, and because I couldn't pick up any words, and I kind of look at this man's angry and disappointed face, so I just walked away. And while I was walking away already, kind of I remembered what could have I said to this man, what kind of explanation I could tell him that I didn't see it, or I couldn't understand, because I was thinking about something different. Anyway, I already found the right words how to explain myself. And while I was thinking about that, what could I have told him? I noticed that I keep playing and overplaying this situation in my head for more than half an hour actually. And I felt that I kind of become sad and disappointed in myself. And there was this nagging feeling inside me that was kind of, oh my God, now those people think that I'm a bad person. Now those people think that I did something bad. And while I was thinking about that, and when I got aware of the situation, it made me think, but why? Why this relatively small situation that can happen to anybody? Why it's still in my head? Why I keep playing it in my head? Why I'm actually getting upset about this situation? Why it is so important, it matters to me that much how those totally strangers thinking of me, and why it's so important for me that they think that I'm a good person, and why it's so important and so upsetting for me that probably they think that I am not so good person, that I'm a bad person. Why? Actually, I'm at the same time when I got aware of this feeling, I kind of got happy because it's also a sign of all that work I'm doing in terms of my mental health, in terms of understanding myself better, in terms of building better relationship with myself first of all. And the old version of me probably wouldn't even notice that. She would keep thinking about this situation and eventually let it go or forget it, but wouldn't take any kind of lesson for that probably, or wouldn't even be aware of what happened and why happened. But luckily, all these things that I'm doing, it seems they really work. So I came home and I started journaling about that. I wrote the situation, I described my feelings, some kind of thoughts on that, why it made me upset, why it's actually so important for me to be good person in eyes of other people. Why it's so critical? Is it because of my empathy? Am I so empathic that I do care and I look at myself through other people's eyes? Or maybe I'm just falling into these people pleasing patterns, which is probably not so healthy. So I was kind of trying to figure it out what it is. And I'm aware already that I have this people-pleasing tendency, probably because of some of my life experience, because the life I lived. I do feel it, and I'm already aware of that. And I even created this kind of naming the feeling, because naming the feeling actually helps to stop it. So while I was still walking and I got aware of that, I already told myself, okay, this is my thinking pattern. This is kinda, I need to be a good person thinking pattern that I have. But at the same time, I kinda start thinking, okay, but where is the line? Where is the difference between empathy, probably even high level of empathy, and actually people pleasing? So I started asking ChatGPT about that. And I used ChatGPT for a long time already for my kind of mental exercises. I also put ChatGPT in some kind of CBT mode when we have different conversations connected with my attitude to myself, with my attitude to other stuff in my life, practically all psychological stuff, mental stuff that I'm currently working on. I use ChatGPT in CBT mode in order to kind of generate more ideas, to have more insight, etc. And ChatGPT told me that there is a difference between empathy and people pleasing, even though sometimes they can be kind of quite similar. So kind of empathy is when you feel for people, when you can get sad or disappointed because you kind of feel people's feeling. You feel sad for them or you feel happy for them. You care for them. But you do not take responsibility for some kind of actions, especially if you have no responsibility for that action. So if we look objectively on this situation, what happened? First of all, those people, those strangers, they do not know me. They don't know what kind of person I am. They also don't have the full information because they didn't know that I just didn't see or couldn't understand that situation with plastic cap. So they had limited information. Also, I couldn't explain myself because of a language barrier. So it also contributed that they didn't have any information about the situation. I didn't have any information about the situation because I was somewhere in my head walking in this autopilot mode. And even though if those people had maybe full information, it doesn't mean that they still would think about me as I want them to think, because even a good person can be misunderstood, and it happens like all the time. And if we look at this particular example, this particular situation that happened with me this morning, I didn't do anything wrong. I didn't harm anybody. I didn't hurt anybody. It's not like I on purpose didn't want to help somebody. It just happened. And I had no responsibility why that cap fall down, why the wind blow it away, and why it just kind of hit my legs and my legs kind of stop it. I had no responsibility about that. And in this case, it's not empathy, because I was not just sad for those people that they dropped the cap or something. It was kind of more like a threat to me, like threat to my identity, threat to the image I built in my head, threat to this I want to be a good person thinking pattern. So it was definitely about people pleasing. And kind of ChatGPT said this sentence that I really like: I can be a good person, I can be the best person in the world even, but it doesn't mean that I won't be judged by somebody else. It doesn't mean that I won't be misunderstood by somebody else just because of lack of the information those people have, or just because what kind of people they are. And that's also true. And also ChatGPT told the other phrase that also I kind of like. He told that, or she told that good people care about being good. So only good people care about being good. So it kind of automatically makes me a good person, which probably also was feeding that feeling, but nevertheless. And also ChatGPT suggested me not to fight this feeling, just kind of let it leave, because fighting the feeling, postponing it, or kind of trying to stop it, forcing it somehow, it's something that actually feeding this feeling. So I'm just creating like a field for more similar situation to pop up in the future, and this is definitely not something I want. Actually, as I told on my channel, I've been working on my mental health for over a year now, and I have a lot of things connected with what I'm and I have a lot of stuff that I'm working on right now, and most of it connected with my self-love, with self-acceptance, especially my body acceptance, my body image. This kind of issue of people pleasing didn't pop up that much. And today I felt that it's kind of step on this stage. I don't know, maybe because I have some improvement with other areas with my life, so they don't take that much of light spotlight like this one. But I'm actually happy that it popped up, because that will be something interesting to discover about myself, something interesting to work with. And that's something I never been thinking about myself, kind of in this way. I don't know how to explain today, because I'm sick. Probably I have some issues with picking up the right words, especially in the language which is not my native language. But still, it's interesting to discover new angles of my identity, to learn something new about myself, to get aware of some thinking patterns that I have, because again, it making my relationship with myself definitely better. So kind of how I worked with this particular feeling, and probably that's gonna be the strategy I'm gonna use for similar situation in the future. First of all, obviously, it's kind of to name this feeling, to name this pattern, like I did actually, because I've been working with similar approach with other issues that I have. And after just kind of acknowledge this situation, okay, kind of this situation happened, this misunderstanding happened. But even though this misunderstanding happened and it's kind of uncomfortable to think that other people think that I'm not a bad person, I don't need to overthink it and I don't need to try to fix it. I can just live with this feeling. I kind of need to remind myself that I act according to my values, I act according who I am, and I should not act according to other people's expectations from me. It's good to have a high level of empathy, it's good to feel for other people, but people pleasing is something different, because in this case I abandon myself. So actually this spontaneous video inspired by this situation that happened with me today in the morning, I want to share on my channel because I think other people who probably also have high level of empathy, or maybe people also who are dealing with people pleasing, they might find it useful and they might feel that they're actually not alone. We are not alone. There are many of us who are dealing with similar issues. And kind of one little life lesson that I took from this day, from this particular situation, it's like my personal emotional growth doesn't mean that I should be less empathetic, that I should care less about other people because it might hurt me. It's about not becoming less dependent on external evaluation and kind of staying more true to myself. And if this resonates with you, you are definitely not alone. Please tell me in the comments below if you have similar situations when you kind of crossing this line between empathy and people pleasing, and what you typically do in those situations, what helps you, what helps you to find that balance. I really curious about some kind of tools that I might use also in order to help my growth, my emotional growth. So thank you for staying here with me. If you like this video, please like it and subscribe to my channel, and I will see you in the next video.